Hi there. Today's Friday. It is the 17th of July, 2020. Today we're going to talk about just some things that I'm observing in the economy or in the world at large. I mean, this Rona thing, this infection, has definitely brought this disparity of wealth to a surface, but it certainly isn't the beginning. There is $1.5 trillion of student loan debt out there. Wrap your head around that. 1.5 trillion. There's also 1 trillion of credit card debt and 1 trillion of auto loan debt. And that is a lot of money. In 2018, the average income was $50,000 per person. $90,000 was the amount of personal debt. I know it's only 2 weeks away from another government bailout, but how in the world can the government keep bailing out individuals? It's also interesting to note that, young people, suicide rates have been increased by 60% in the past 10 years. And that the dollar has declined 98%, since 100 years ago. The wealth inequality is just amazing because 1% of the people have all of the money. Years ago, back, AT&T and the car companies and stuff, they would pay for production. So the profits were shared then with the employees and the people on the front lines producing. Today, they're paid a pittance and it all goes to corporate greed. I don't know, what the government is doing. People are expecting more money, but what they're doing isn't kind and generous, and it's certainly not charitable. They are giving corporations huge amount of money and in return getting bonds from zombie companies, bonds that are not even rated, they're B bonds, and they're junk bonds. So what the Fed is doing is trying to save something that's insolvent, really, and that's something that's never going to be able to pay itself back. I just took some notes today. The link between productivity and wages has been totally disconnected since the 1970s. And really, when you think about it, paper money, has no intrinsic value. And the monetary system, I'm not even quite sure if it's quite sound anymore. And it's not really reliable either. Earlier this year, the Fed created $3.2 trillion just like that out of thin air. Money that they don't even have. It's like debt paying debt. It's worth $22,600 per taxpayer. But yet, every taxpayer only received $1,200. Compare that to the amount of money that went to corporations. You look at the price of food, housing, healthcare, cars, education, and it's all gotten way too expensive. Back in 1969, a Ford F-150 cost $2,500. Get that, $2,500. Today, for a car, an F-150 that you'd want to drive, the starting price is at $30,000. But to get a few bells and whistles, you can pay up to $45,000. not to mention the prices of ground beef and eggs and a whole bunch of other things. The purchasing power of the dollar has plummeted. The CARES Act was the largest in history, and more than half of what the government collects in taxes. Wrap your head around that. I mean, New York is looking for, I think, something like $61 billion in a bailout. I don't know. Wrap your head around these things. Yep, the government's buying bad debt, and they're buying bad debt of foreign companies as well. So wrap your head around that. There's international cell phone companies and tech companies that have zero net worth, and the U.S. government is investing in those companies. Well, I don't know what to say you can't keep creating money out of thin air, but yet the need is tremendous for some people. I mean, some people are really relying on that little tiny bit of money, $1,200, $600 a week. I mean, they need it to survive. They haven't paid their mortgages, they haven't paid their rent, and time is running out. So, what do we do about it, and how is this going to end? Well, there's other assets that people should be buying at this point, and I'm not quite sure that the dollar is really going to hold its value. So, with the dollar declining and everything getting more expensive, I think that people need to hold assets, different kinds of assets, and they need to diversify. So, if you have the ability to invest in some gold or some silver, invest in Bitcoin, or invest in something that can be used as a currency, in the long run. Maybe now's the time to do something like that. Printing this money is destroying the future generations. And, there's also this social unrest piece that is quite, people are angry. People on both sides of the aisle are angry, right? This is not a political thing. It's an inequality thing. I think that, credit is cheap now, but I think also that credit needs to not be maybe so readily available to people who really can't afford to pay it. We have this moratorium on rent where there's no evictions, but that's all coming due soon. And I know a lot of cities and towns across America, the evictions are already in the courts. They're just waiting for the green light. And it takes a long time to evict someone, so this isn't something that's going to, happen overnight, but probably come fall, maybe 60 to 100 days from now, you're going to see quite a lot of people being evicted. And you also have interest rates declining, so the prices of housing is going up. However, a lot of landlords might want to dump their housing because part of the CARES Act was this mm, tax, no capital gains tax on, investment properties. So if they can save, it depends what state you live in, but if you can save, up to 30%, 35% in some states between Fed tax and state tax, they might lower the prices of those homes because they're saving on the capital gain. So that's something to look out for too, because we don't know what's going to happen. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's protests, and there's, people, frontline workers that have to work, and some, office workers that can work from home. Um, but there's a disparity in this country, and I think that I don't know how it's going to end, but it's not looking pretty at this point. So anyway, buy some gold, buy some silver, invest in some Bitcoin, if you will. Um, hold on to some cash, but it's just paper, and it really can go to nothing in a heartbeat. So keep that in the back of your mind and prepare yourself. Try and have some food in the basement and have some water. And, the price of everything are just going up, up, up. So if you can, and you have the space and you have some extra money to do that, I would do that because times are changing, my friends. And yeah, prepare.